அடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா cell wall is the outermost protective cover of the cell. It is present in bacteria, fungi, and plants, whereas it is absent in animal cell. It was first observed by Robert Hooke. It is an actively growing portion. It is made up of different complex material in various organisms. In bacteria, it is composed of peptidoglycan. ஃபங்கஸில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கைட்டின் அண்டு ஃபங்கல் செல்லுலோஸ். இன் ஆல்கே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா செல்லுலோஸ், கெலக்டன்ஸ் அண்டு மெனான்ஸ். In plants, it's made up of cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, lignin, cutin, suberin, and silica. In plant cell wall shows three distinct regions. என்னென்ன primary wall, secondary wall, middle lamella. அந்த டயக்ராமில் பார்க்கலாம். ஸோ இதில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா தெரியும், ப்ரௌன் கலரில் இருக்கிறது தான் மிடில், ரெண்டு செல்லுக்கு இடையில இருக்கிறது. அதுக்கடுத்து பிரைமரி எல்லோ, அப்புறம் செகண்டரியில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா S1, S2, S3, அதுக்கப்புறம் உள்ள லியூமன். ஸோ அதுதான் பார்க்க போகிறோம். ஃபஸ்ட்டு பிரைமரி வால். இட் இஸ் ஃபஸ்ட் லேயர் இன்னர் டு மிடில் லேமல்லாவுக்கு அடுத்து இருக்கிறது. primarily consisting of loose network of cellulose microfibrils in a gel matrix. It is thin, elastic, and extensible. In most plants, the microfibrils are made up of cellulose, oriented differently based on the shape and thickness of the wall. The matrix of the primary wall is composed of hemicellulose, pectin, glycoprotein, and water. Hemicellulose binds the microfibrils. The matrix and glycoproteins control the orientation of microfibrils, while pectin serves as filling material of the matrix. Cells such as parenchyma and meristems have only primary wall. Next, secondary wall is led during maturation of the cell. It plays a key role in determining the shape of the cell. It is thick, inelastic, and made up of cellulose. And lignin. The secondary wall is divided into three sublayers termed as S1, S2, S3. Diagram where the cellulose microfibrils are compactly arranged with a different orientation, forming a laminated structure, and the cell wall strength is increased. Next, middle lamella. It is the outermost layer made up of calcium and magnesium pectate, deposited at the time of cytokinesis. It is a thin amorphous layer with cement to adjacent cells. It is optically inactive, isotropic. Plasmodesmata, தட்டு மாதிரி, and pit. Plasmodesmata act as the channel between the protoplasm and adjacent cells, through which many substances pass through. Moreover, at few regions the secondary wall layer is laid unevenly, whereas the primary wall and middle lamellae are laid continuously. Such regions are called pits. The pits of adjacent cells are opposite to each other. Each pit has a pit chamber and a pit membrane. The pit membrane has many minute pores and thus they are permeable. The pits are of two types, namely simple and bordered pit. Functions of cell wall. The cell wall plays a vital role in holding several important functions. First, offer definite shape and rigidity to the cell. Serves as barrier for several molecules to enter the cell. Provide protection to the internal protoplasm against mechanical injury. Prevents the bursting of cells by maintaining the osmotic pressure. Plays a major role by acting as a mechanism of defense for the cells. Cell membrane is also called cell surface or plasma membrane. It is a thin structure which holds the cytoplasmic content called cytosol. It is extremely thin, less than 10 nanometer. Fluid mosaic model. Jonathan Singer and Grant Nicholson proposed fluid mosaic model. It is made up of lipid and protein together with a little amount of carbohydrate. The lipid membrane is made up of phospholipid, and the phospholipid molecules has a hydrophobic tail அப்புறம் hydrophilic head. The hydrophobic tail repels water and hydrophilic வந்து என்ன பண்ணும் attract water. The proteins of the membrane are என்ன ஷேப்பில் இருக்குமா உருண்டை globular protein which are found intermingled between the lipid bilayer, most of which are projecting beyond the lipid bilayer. The proteins are called integral protein. ஒருங்கிணைந்ததுன்னு சொல்லுவோம். Few are superficially attached on the surface of the lipid bilayer, which are called as peripheral protein. The proteins are involved in transport of molecule across the membrane and also act as enzymes, receptor, antigen. Water-loving polar molecules are called hydrophilic molecules. They have polar phosphate group responsible for attracting water. Water-hating non-polar molecules are called hydrophobic molecule. So அதை பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they are fatty acid which non-polar cannot attract water. Carbohydrate molecules of cell membrane in short chain polysaccharides. These are either bound with glycoprotein or glycolipids and form a glycocalyx. The movement of membrane lipids from one side of the membrane of the other side by vertical movement called flip-flop movement. அதுக்கு பேர் என்னது flip-flop movement. This movement takes place more slowly than lateral diffusion of lipid molecule. The phospholipid can have flip-flop movement because they have smaller polar region, whereas the person cannot flip-flop because the polar region is extensive. Functions of cell membrane. The functions of cell membrane is enormous, which includes cell signal, transport nutrients and water, preventing unwanted substance entering into the cell and so on.